Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a video covering Kiwi Ears' new Astral. This is a 1 dynamic driver, 6 balanced armature, and it is fantastic for both music as well as competitive gaming. It's going to be my new mid-range favorite. Price of the IEM is coming in at $299. Again, 1 dynamic driver, 6 balanced armatures, nice 3D printed resin chassis that is exceptionally ergonomic, very comfortable and lightweight. Lighter weight in comparison to the metal chassis on the Mangird Tea Pro. I did find the comfort here to be phenomenal. I can play up to 8 hours or longer and not have any discomfort in my ears, so that is always a plus. The IEM does come with 2 different colorways on the faceplate. They have a yellow or a blue. The yellow is more like a gold that you guys can see here. The blue does look pretty stunning, and I might have to buy a second pair of these because they are that good. In terms of the tonal properties of this, I'll show you guys a graph in comparison to the Arete as well as the Mangird Tea Pro. I think it's just a very nicely balanced IEM that has a good V-shaped tuning. It accentuates and has this punchiness in the bass that feels very airy, well separated and clear, that doesn't muddy the mids. The low end is something that to me feels as though it has more rumble, probably because it has more accentuation in the sub bass than the mid bass. But just has this fantastic punch, this fantastic, well-bodied, lively rumble to it that just feels very clean, well-separated, and airy, nothing that muddies the mids. I don't find it to be necessarily a mid-forward set, but the mids are exceptional and right there with the other things that are happening in the track. Nothing muddies them up or covers them up, and they are just exceptionally clear, very technical, very resolving. At this price point, to me, it sounds like a more expensive set than $299. The upper region, you've got also very good treble extension, so good sub bass extension, good treble extension. Just again, a nice, well-rounded set. But the treble region actually does feel nice and airy, technical, clean, fast to me. If you do provide these a little bit too much power, though, sometimes you can feel as though it gets a little bit spicier, particularly with some things in game, even like some gunfire, grenades, different effects that kind of have more of this poignant upper region in the tunings with some of the audio cues. Great micro detail, great clarity. Just a very nice tuning here in comparison to some of the other things, and it's just a nice change. So hopefully with this addition in the A tier, there's a lot of things that you can choose from and pick your tonal profile that you prefer the most. This to me is just something that works so well with almost everything that I've thrown at it. Playing Expedition 33 that has more of this kind of orchestral track to it with a lot of violin, a lot of string instruments, as well as kind of this opera type female vocal, just sounded absolutely fantastic. And again, the imaging, the separation, layering, being able to pick out everything in a track and the micro detail is just phenomenal, I think, at this price point on the Kiwi Ears Astral. Now, tying this into gaming, what can you expect out of Valorant? The reason I really think there's this difference between a B tier and an A tier IEM in Valorant is you get more of this feeling, more of a holographic nature to the imaging itself. When there are multiple people pushing a site, there's multiple people on the other team kind of trickulating out from behind a wall. I want to be able to hear and feel those footsteps, each and every single one of them, and have this read on each and every single one of them in terms of that horizontal depth. I don't want just, oh, I know there's multiple people in this general vicinity. You get this feeling of where each and every single one of those people are with this great, precise precision in terms of that read. So great layering with different audio cues of the same nature going off at the same time. Multiple sets of vandals I have in my head where that depth is around the map in each direction. Despite somebody shooting and somebody behind them shooting, you've got this great differentiation of each of those things and where exactly they are. The urgency and sense of emphasis on the set, to me, in comparing it to the Mangird Tea Pro, the Mangird Tea Pro just feels a little bit more relaxed. This, again, feels a little bit more live-bodied and immersive. So the audio cues, to me, stick out a little bit more sometimes with different sets of footsteps. Because it has a great balance, those different types of footsteps, so the lighter steps on kind of like this grassy feel or metal ticks in comparison to the Deep Thox, both stick out and have a very great read on the Astral in Valorant 2. Again, a very good holographic extent. You feel, again, each of them as they're getting closer and where exactly they are. In terms of separation, layering, abilities going off, multiple vandals, again, no issues at all with separation and layering. I never felt the gunfire to get hot or spicy, and I never felt the low end to cover anything up. I would say, though, that it was tip dependent. I used these Asless and Earfit Lites, which I did feel had a better time than the Asless and Earfit Maxes, which were a little bit too on the low end. It brought out the operator a little bit too much, and things felt a little bit occluded. But with the lights, it just sounds absolutely fantastic. I never felt anything getting covered up by anything else. Just a very good time in Valorant. And again, this lively feedback on vandals, as well as different things happening in the track. Just a nice set that feels very holographic. And CS2 is fantastic as well. The imaging, the depth perception in CS2 was absolutely fantastic. And the gunfire, I feel, is actually well maintained. One of the things in CS2 is like things like gunfire, like different things can just feel a little bit too spicy and hot in the upper region. These handle gunfire around the map absolutely like very well, very tame. Nothing that feels fatiguing, nothing that feels obnoxious. And with the footstep pull, again, it's just very precise, absolutely amazing depth perception, and the urgency when you hear somebody shooting from a distance, it's just very spot on. Just great imaging, separation, layering, and depth perception. Taking them into Apex Legends, one of the things that I really enjoy with this set is, again, it just feels a little bit more lively, a little bit more action-y than something like the Mangird Tea Pro. But the imaging, the depth perception, the verticality on the set is amazing. Taking these into World's Edge, even in music, you feel this perception, this feeling that things can float over your head. And it's no different in Apex Legends. Getting that pull of people flying in, people taking zips, jumping off buildings. The pull is just very precise and very clean. And going into those third parties, those fourth parties, I never felt gunfire. Gunfire in the set is more tame than something at an A- like the Arete. It's not spicy. It doesn't feel overwhelming when grenades are going off and multiple people are shooting, which things like the 301 and cracking into armors can sometimes feel a little bit fatiguing, a little bit too hot in Apex. This just handles that very, very well. And again, just feels and sounds so nice. And just absolutely fantastic micro detail. Good pull on footsteps again and slides going around the map. I do think if you still want something that feels a little bit more relaxed and smooth in some areas, you can look for, like, don't upgrade from the Mangird Tea Pro if you have the Mangird Tea Pro and your goal is gaming. Really, this is right on par with the Mangird Tea Pro. And again, just has a tuning that I'm liking a little bit more for my music listening. Just amazing in Apex, and it's the same thing in Call of Duty when you're getting a lot of gunfire, airstrikes going off, grenades going off, and some of the things that just crack quite loudly. It just maintains and handles a little bit better than those things in the A- range, and I think much better than those things in the B range. To me, it is a fantastic all-rounder for music and a fantastic all-rounder for gaming. Every game that I've played has been handled absolutely very well with the Kiwi Ears Astral, and at $299, it just sounds fantastic. Again, my testing, I A and B test and kind of try to cut out as many variables as possible. So my testing was on the TripleWin Moonshadow cable, and the Asless and the Earfit Lites I found to work better than some of the other tips. It does sound like a tip-dependent set, so keep that in mind. Just to show you guys what you get in the box, default cable, you do get a nice default 2-pin cable. It has a interchangeable termination, 3.5 or 4.4, that just kind of pops off. You just have to line it up appropriately and get it back on there. It's got a nice braid to it. It's an okay default cable. And then in the box, nothing too special, but you get a little tiny carrying case. Again, nothing that fantastic. But you do get a nice set of silicone tips as well. But again, I kind of like my third-party tips, and hopefully if you are at this price point, you're okay going with third-party tips, or maybe have a flavor for the IEM hobby already. But if you're looking for something, again, it's just got all of the factors. It's lightweight, very comfortable, great ergonomics, great 3D printed resin chassis, good driver orientations. The drivers sound high quality, and it's just a great all-rounded tuning that works in a variety of genres, single-player games, and got those wall hack properties I want for competitive gaming. So guys, I hope it helped. It is going to be my new mid-range favorite up to that price point. Again, it's only $299 in comparison to some of the other things in that A tier. So hopefully it's another option for people that are at that budget. I hope it helped, guys. If it did, please leave a sub to the channel. See you guys in the next review. Peace.